What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 69 of Let's Build the U.S.S. Voyager tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and help me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you guys enough for that. Today we've got about a 16-minute episode. We're going to be picking up right where we left off in the last episode, reworking the cut line on the top portion of our saucer section. So, without further ado, let's kick back, relax, we're going to dive right into this. So, we're going to be making some slight adjustments here to this initial cut line. And then we're going to dive into the new process and how I'm going to be doing my hull lines for you guys. I'm going to be trying to do it a little bit more visually. Now, bear in mind, this is going to be the first time that I've tried this out. So I'm not going to have this process set in stone until we get into the Excelsior. I'll have it much more refined at that point. So just bear with me as we go through this step, because we are going to spin our tires just a little bit because it's the first time me doing it. And ultimately what happened is that I used the pixel circle generator, but then I kind of veered away from it and I tried to do my own template, and that was kind of causing me to spin my tires a little bit more. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, we are later on going to come back and we're going to redo all these rows with the pixel circle generator. Okay, so now that we've got this row pretty much in place, we're going to change this from a gray block to white concrete. That's looking pretty good. I'm just not super happy with the blending on the sides here. I feel like to make it more consistent, I need to do white concrete and then a row of the half slabs maybe. We'll zoom out, see how that looks. Doesn't look too bad, but it still almost looks a little bit uncompleted on the sides, I'm not going to lie. And you know, this goes with every step that we're doing in these tutorials. The changes that we're about to make to the top portion of our saucer. Look, here's the thing. If you're happy with how the top of Voyager looks at this point, let it ride, you know? If you're happy with it, be happy with it. Who cares what anybody thinks? So let's just go back a little bit here for a second. So establishing these middle points, I did do this off camera. Because I didn't want to spend 4 or 5 episodes trying to figure out where my dividers were going to be. So this is where, like I said, this is going to be how I start doing the new process. But I didn't, honest to God, I just didn't set it up correctly the first go around, and it's not until we get into Excelsior that this will be much better. So this first cut line, I think I had this set up as a 17 by 10. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be adjusting this to a 17 by 20. But to be honest, you guys won't need the pixel circle generator for this, because if I'm not mistaken, I'm building all this out with you live. So what I would say to do at this point is do what I do. What I need to do anytime I'm going to come up with a new process, I need to refine it off camera before implementing it into a tutorial. So I apologize for that. But like I said, I promise you, once we get into the Excelsior, I'll have that set up to where it needs to be. But basically, what I was trying to do is show you guys the cut lines and the dimensions that you would need to enter in your pixel circle generator for every cut line. Because what I'm doing right now, I'm going off that 17 by 21, but I think it ends up being a little bit too, it's off in some way. But let's keep writing it out, and we're just going to make these changes as we go. I've got that white, blue concrete going over to the white on the left side. On the right side, it stops one short of the white. But we're not too concerned with that right now. What we're going to do is everything forward of that gray oval that we just made, we're going to get rid of just that row. So we're going to be deleting the full blocks, and then we're going to be deleting the half slabs. Just going forward, we're not going to delete anything behind it, and we're not going to be taking off any of the other rows underneath it. That's why, like I said, what we're doing at this point is that we're just reshaping the transition points on the top of our saucer to make it line up better with how it looks in the reference material. It's hard to describe the shape of Voyager for the saucer because it's not a perfect oval on the top. The best way I can describe it after building it, I'd say it more closely resembles the shape of an egg from a side view. There's not a specific shape that I can say that would describe it out. It's a distorted oval is the best way I can describe it from a side view. Oddly enough, I don't know why, but when I look at Voyager from the side, the saucer kind of reminds me of a duckbill. I don't know why, because when you actually look at a duckbill from the sides, like they're not the same shape, but it does remind me of it. So, you know, again, when you can identify shapes to what you're working with, it's a good point of reference to have. When you start breaking down those shapes, it's helpful. So you can see our next row, we're building this just one down with the cut. Now these are 17 blocks apart each row. That is something I didn't do on camera, but that's why I had the 17 there, so that you can have your dividers in place. Pretty sure this row was a 17 by 10 if I'm not mistaken. Now see, the problem that we're having right now, no, it's 17 by 11. It's too short on the sides. And this is where I was going into what I'm ultimately going to end up doing right here is, instead of carrying on the template for the pixel circle generator, I start winging it. And that's what causes some issues right here. Because what ultimately ends up happening is that, like I said, with me winging it, the sides end up looking a little bit more distorted. So we're going to end up having to come back to the pixel circle generator. Yeah, 'cause it's just too narrow on the sides. We need to fatten that up a little bit. Because I'm pretty sure what I even did on the previous row, I updated that to a 17 by 15. And then this one, 17 by 11. So now we're just going to fill this in. You're going to fill all that in right there. Now, before I went into and I started actually filling this in, I decided that I want to redo this row. You can see I started out doing this side in the center, but we're actually going to make an adjustment to this. Because again, what's bothering me is that it's too narrow on the sides. It's way too narrow. And I think this is what got me in trouble, is that from here on out, I wing it. And I don't think it looked bad when I did it. And then we end up going forward, but I'm pretty sure we end up coming back to it and I end up having to fix it. And I found out the hard way that, I mean, you can wing an oval here and there, but when it comes to the saucer and layering, winging it may not be the best idea, because what's going to happen is as you're going layer to layer, they're not going to match up. The patterns are going to be different because you're winging it. So with that, we're going to learn from our mistakes here and know in the future that pixel circle generator is where it's going to be. Because I tried to come up with a whole new process, but at this point in the tutorial, I just kind of stepped on my own feet and I didn't get it where I wanted it to, because I was trying to make things quicker, but ultimately by winging it, I made things take longer. But you know, that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes, and you know, I'll be the first one to admit when I make a mistake. And these tutorials, it's a constant learning experience for me. Learning what works, learning what doesn't work, and coming up with solutions to make things better. And that's why, like I said, I'm going to add a rule for myself anytime I'm going to be implementing new methods to flesh that out off camera, so that this way when I actually get into the tutorial, it's just a little bit smoother. Because I'm fine with having us with the transition point where we have to spin our wheels a little bit here and there to kind of land where we need to land. But with things on the back end, with process and things like that, I want to kind of eliminate that as much as I can to eliminate confusion, basically. So all those longer lines, we're going to get rid of them. We're going to bring that right back to where we were at our second 2-block cuts. And then I'm going to do a row of 3 on each side, going one with a cut. You know, like I said, like, you can do this. It can be done winging the oval. But, you know, again, things will start to fall apart once we add in all our other rows. It's not going to be as consistent. We'll have to make some adjustments. So we've got 2 rows of 3, 2 rows of 3, and then we're going to do 3, third row of 3, I think. So 3 threes. Maybe extend that out 4, 5, 4, 5. And then 5. Really, the only way to look at this thing will be from the top. It's not looking terrible. It's definitely wider, but I don't think it's exactly where it needs to be quite yet. So all I want now at this point, I want the left side and right side to match up. So this way when you start filling stuff in, it's matching up on both sides. So this area right here, we need to do that on this side. So what I'm going to do to make it easy, I'm going to do the pattern for the white concrete. Make sure that's right. All right. Now we can start to fill in just that center part. You don't want to do anything forward, just this center part right here. We're going to fill that in. So I want to make sure things are the same on both sides. And once you have that, you fill in that whole intersection. And that'll wrap up episode 69. We're rocking and rolling. But anyway, I think that's going to do it for me today. I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in today's episode. And if you did enjoy this content, hit that like and subscribe button. I can't thank you guys enough for it. Be sure to drop a comment below. Any builds you want to see. All this stuff really helps out my analytics. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. So I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. And of course, what did you make in Minecraft today? Post your photos in the Discord so everyone can see them.